Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lotus D channel. Thank you so much for showing up today. Wow, it is already July 7th. And I think when I think about the day and I think about what we're going through out here in these streets, as I like to call it, it's a lot going on. But in order to be able to combat that and to really be able to shine, if you will, and to let those things that are happening out there not distract us from ourselves. This is what this channel is all about. So I do appreciate you all coming and to unwind with me for a little bit. Today's coverage may be more than just 15 minutes. It may take a little bit more like 20. However, at the same time, it's just to stay on the theme. As you all know, I like to keep the themes going, right? So that being said, today we're going to our part two of the enemy within, which is self-sabotaging. I do want to bring up a couple of different things, though, as I go through speaking to these items that that people do or we do, if you will, because everyone, unfortunately, at some point, time and continuously still have to catch themselves from doing it on a habitual level, or ultimately they need to just change that manifestation, if you will, from being negative to something positive. We tend to do that, right? So we really want to think about these things I'm going to mention today, and consider how they can be triggering, but definitely how we can change that. So first and foremost, let me get out my trusty dusty, because it is dusty. It's old. Hey, it's like, I like old books, and when I saw this, it really already had a little bit of, it had a different top. I should say it had another piece on top of it. It was plastic. And I was like, I don't want no plastic. I need to feel that leather. So, or the binder. So that's what I did. I ripped it off and it became Bee's own journal. And it's basically about, things when it comes to, I went through when I was going through my certification, or even notes that I like to take before I get on here to discuss with you all what I feel will be good topics for us to talk about. And it's all about self care. Well-being is about that. But the biggest thing on this channel is that like I said, I really want you all to get to a point where you no longer think about anything except what we're talking about for that 15 to 20 minutes, because it needs to be about you. Okay, not about not about me. I sometimes will bring up examples. However, please understand, I'm trying my best to make it sure that it's relatable, because if you don't have someone that's going to be honest with you and say, "Oh, I go through nothing of the sort," you just look at me like, "Oh, D's like perfect or something," and we know that is not true. Okay, I got post-it notes over there to remind me what I got going on. Um, and trust me, I've got a couple of jobs, so this is not the only thing I do. But that being said, I really want you guys to understand that that's what this is all about. Taking 15 to 20 minutes to sit down with me and just unwind. Okay. So, what causes self sabotage? The behavior can include the following: one is low self esteem, which is a lack of being one's own, knowing someone's, let's put it this way, you have those moments that you know your worth, and then you have those moments that you don't think you're worth anything, and you don't believe that you have the ability to change. So, you therefore continue to do and sit and fester in that low pit of self esteem. How can we change that? There's so much. Look at self-esteem. I have a video. So please, for you all of you who are new here on Lotus D channel, please do not feel or do not forget to pull up another video. And I've got something about self-esteem that's sitting there waiting for you to try it out and see what you think about it. And always, please do leave a comment so that I can know how you feel about it and what I can do in order to make it even more so relatable to you all. That's what it's all about. Okay. Fear of failure. Now, this is the second part of it. So we talked about fear of failure a little bit last week, which I think was Thursday, right before the holidays. We discussed that. So, when you think about fear of failure, it's an intense fear of not succeeding that leads to avoidance of challenges. So that means that basically you're so fearful of something going wrong or that you can't do it, that you don't do it at all. You just say, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Just saying, put it out there. I had this conversation one time with my dad when I was a younger, I don't know how much younger I was, a young kid, but I did say, "Hey, Dad, do you ever get fearful of anything?" He goes, "Just God." I said, "What you mean?" He goes, "Not fearing anything out here." He goes, "You die, you come back. You go through this, you get better. You break a leg, you wear a brace. You get a bonded. You get that." I was like, superhero over here. But he just made me think, that he said the biggest failure would be denying God. And I have to agree with him on that one. It has a lot to do with our spiritual, where we stand spiritually speaking. Denying God, who's is a lot in itself. But denying yourself the right to appreciate what you've done for yourself, or where you are, is wrong also. Because what you're saying is everything that I've done this far in living doesn't amount to anything when you're still breathing and you have the ability to change that. So if anyone on here is feeling that, seek help, please. Okay? Because I'm not a psychologist, but I'm definitely here to listen, hopefully to help guide, but I cannot give you all of the answers that you may need. Okay, so as I go through these things and these resonate with you, please, I want you to really think about what you can do to change the self-sabotaging behavior if that's something that you see yourself. I know with me, I'll start saying something and I'm like, why did I say that? And then I'm starting to think of something that happened when I was a kid, or something that happened that maybe I need to work through, and I didn't know I needed to work through it. So it becomes a challenge, but it comes a challenge that I know I have to face. I can't be on this earth and not face something at some point, because no matter what we do, it's always coming back, right, to haunt us, right? The skeletons, as they used to say, in the closet, the demons within our, get the monkey off your back, all those things that they said back in the day in order to make it even more so aware that there's problems to come, you know? Everybody wants to be a kid, but then some of us are glad we're not, because maybe we went through trauma, and that's on here. Talks about past trauma. Traumatic experiences can lead to a development of self-sabotage behaviors as a coping mechanism. So instead of getting better, we cope with it in our own way, which probably is going somewhere and curling up into a ball on a sofa. It's different than, let's say you're in a relationship and you break up. This is you against you. This is not you against them. You against you is really difficult, because when you can do the blame game, you can say your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whomever, they're the reason why this didn't work out. But then when it's you who didn't get that promotion because you didn't stick your neck out and say you wanted it, or you just didn't speak up in time, or you chose to not do something to get you to that next thing, that's you. It's not your boss. Got to be honest with yourself. A lot of times it starts with you. And if you can't get past that, then how can you go to someone that has a non-biased opinion, which is a therapist, and tells you what you need to do? Because they're not judging you. You're judging you enough. We are indeed our worst enemies. And in this case, we're not just spewing it, we're showing it, we're doing it. So we're literally like thinking it, and then we react. And the outcome is anger and malicious intent and bodily harm, whether it's drinking too much or substance abuse, or in some cases fighting, with someone else that we love, we say we love, but we don't love who we are. So These are the things that we really have to think about when it comes to self-sabotage. Why are you doing this? Why? Was it something that happened in the past? Or is it something that presently you can't get past? Seek help, please. Learn behaviors. Self-sabotaging behaviors can be learned from parents or other significant figures in childhood. Again, things that we see. I am not on here to blame parents or to blame other figures that are in your life significantly, but at some point, we have to take ownership of how not only do we react, but how we live our life. It's really and truly up to us what we do with it. It really, really is. Okay. Unresolved emotional issues like suppressed or unaddressed emotions can manifest into self-sabotaging. Not a lot, right? But definitely some triggering things. A couple things triggered me even with that in a way that it made me think, and I had to write it down. I started writing down what I felt like I do to myself. You know, when do I need to have a moment? When I'm having one of those moments or I've said something about myself, how can I flip it really quickly to change it from being something ugly to something better? Is it hard? Heck yeah. Has it taken me a long time to get there? Believe it. Have I done different things and used different tools? Of course. One of the things I talked to you all about the other day or the last few times we talked about meditation and the forms of it. I definitely want you guys to choose one that works for you. And put it in the comments and tell me, hey D, this works for me amazingly. I tried the walking meditation and wow. Again, for those of you who are new, please feel free to like and subscribe, and therefore you'll be able to go back and see those other videos. Because I do have other videos that I've done. I haven't been on here that long, but I've been on here long enough to be able to drop some science for you guys, some little bit of knowledge, that I like to try to give to people, uh, because I once received my knowledge as well. So it keeps us moving in the right direction. Keeps us not being when we are distracted by so many things that are on the tube or on any streets. We get to ourselves for that 15 and 20 minutes here with me at Lotus D and just sit and just kind of hash it out, right? At some point, I will be going live, a couple times a week, but right now, I think it's very important that you all know who I am and what I believe in and integrity that's there. I'll always be honest and be willing to share. But the other part of it is that I think you guys got to make sure you come to this at the same time honest with yourselves because I'm going to ask you for that because I'm coming to you, giving you 100% of who I am. So I would like for you to do the same because that way you can start to heal. And like I said, healing is not going to be quick. I'm not going to lie to you. I could say, oh, yeah, sure. It only took me, come on, guys. Healing, getting through some bad stuff, it doesn't come easy. And sometimes we don't want to do it when we get there halfway. I have friends who've gone through therapy and they haven't finished it, and now they're finishing it now, or sometimes they call out on it, and I'm like, okay, well, you're doing great with it though, and they're like, oh, well, sometimes they don't even want to tell me about it because they know I'm going to speak up on it because I believe in it. I'm only speaking up on it because I've done it myself. It ain't because I ain't been there. It's not. I've gone through some trauma. We all have. And some people say, oh, I've never gone through it. I've had such a great life as a child. And then they become an adult and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Everything used to come so easy when I was a kid. I never went through anything. Now everything triggers them. They get anxiety over the littlest things that we would think is little. And to them, it is not. It's big to them. That's why we can't judge each other. So, hopefully you guys got a little chance to talk about this, think about this. Make some notes, guys. Whenever you flare up at somebody and you get angry, you just want to hit them, you need to figure out why. Why do you want to hit them? What did they say? How do they make you feel? It's always about how someone makes you feel. It's not always about what they say. Sometimes a tone, sometimes it's just a word that someone that when you were younger used against you, and they don't know how much it makes a difference because they keep saying it anyway. And you're like, all right, I see you keep on saying it over and over again. You don't know that that affects me. You don't know that that's a negative thought or negative word for me. It makes me think you think I'm less than. So I have to remind myself when I hear it how strong I've become because I am, because I worked hard on me. So I hope that each and every one of you listening are going to work hard on you and believe in yourself to understand that it's not an easy process, but it's worth one. Everyone going through it together or apart. And I'm here to listen and you feel free to share or drop a comment anytime. I always read them. I appreciate you again for stopping by at my channel. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We're going to talk about confidence. hmm We all need it. We all go through it, right? It just, and then why do we not sometimes have it? There's always going to be that dual energy, as they put it. You know, you got that the yin and the yang all the time fighting each other, the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. And we've discussed a lot of that lately. We need to get some good things. So we're going to talk about confidence, how to have it, what it looks like, and then what to do with it once you develop it to the point where you don't become like, I'm so confident, and everybody's like, oh my God, your ego is overboard. You're egotistically, speaking. Wait, we want to. That's not the part we're not. That's not the confidence we're looking for. That's a little bit. That goes into a whole nother. Yeah, we don't want to be there. So anyway, thanks again for sitting down with me. All right, get out of here. Go back to what you're doing, or hopefully this gets you with a little pep in your step. Stay bright out there, okay?